Welcome everyone. Thank you all for turning out for our lunch and learn today. My name is Gil Sargent, and at Toastmasters we start on time and we finish on time. So we're going to try to follow our own rules. All right, I have some people that are going to help me today, and I'd like to have each of them stand up and introduce themselves. So starting over here, George.
George Klebb. I work for my day job, Great Basin College. I happen to be the president of the local Toastmasters Club.
Mike Mauser, I'm a member of Toastmasters, and I'm retired.
I'm Helen Hankins, and I'm with Sunrise Toastmasters Club. In fact, I helped charter it in 1997, and most of you know me through the California Trail Center.
I'm Luis, and I'm from Peru. I've been in the US for 3 years.
There's some chairs right in the middle.
Currently working at the Phoenix mine in Bad Mountain as a mining engineer.
Oh, hello. I'm Lana Carter, and I'm with Carter Engineering and former Toastmasters.
I'm Wendy Bernhardt. I've been in Toastmasters here since 2012. My day job is being retired, and I also work part-time at GBC, and I'm here.
We have one more Toastmaster here who's not presenting.
Judith Donaldson. I'm a pastor at the Elko United Methodist Church.
And Judith is the best school teacher you can ever see in Toastmasters, because when you do something wrong, you're going to hear about it. And the only thing she doesn't have is a ruler to slap you on the wrist. You know you've been corrected, but she's just wonderful. Just does a wonderful job. Now we'd like to go around the room and have each of you give a brief introduction to yourself. So we'll start right here.
Hi everybody, I'm Jamie Donovan. I am the Community Relations Manager for Orla Mining. And Orla, we are permitting a new gold mine south of the town of Carlin, which is in Elko County, so that's exciting for Elko. And I'm also on the board for the chamber. So
Very good, thank you.
Hi, I'm Michaela from American Staffing, marketing rep over there. I've been there 4 years now, so it's always been nice.
All right, very good.
Hi, I'm Leanna Helming with Artistic Urban Landscape, and we are a local landscaping company that designs and installs your new landscape.
My name's Terry Ferguson, and we own Oasis Carpet Cleaning, and when we pull up, the dirt pulls out.
I'm Frankie Wood. I own Whatever It Takes LLC, and we do fundraising for nonprofits and different organizations in the community.
My name is Katie Ashley. I'm the membership support coordinator here at the chamber.
I'm Megan Kelly. I am also with the Elko Area Chamber, and I conduct our marketing and programs.
You have a good voice for that.
Yeah.
That's nice. I'm Allie Schaefer. I'm with Rubicon Resource Center. If you aren't familiar, we're a nonprofit thrift store, and we're a job training facility for individuals with intellectual disabilities.
Hi, I'm Johanna Bingham. I am the personal banker over at WaFd Bank, which is just a fancy term for business banker. So yeah, that's it.
I'm Haley Bamsberger. I own Haley's Indigo Downtown, 26 years, and I also sit on the board.
I'm Karen Bryant, and I live in Spring Creek, and I'm retired.
Yes. I'm Pat Waits. I'm actually, I just moved to Elko in December. I was a Ranger County Commissioner for 11 years and just left a year early and retired here. I'm representing out the United Methodist Church with her, but I go back quite a ways. Toastmasters for me was like 45, 50 years ago. You've been around a long time.
Next up.
Do you want to go?
Me? I'm the guy hiding in the corner. I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Justin Shelley with Phoenix IT.
I'm Sarah Ramirez. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Home 2 Suites by Hilton.
And Justin did the last lunch and learn here. He's a cyber security expert, and don't talk to him if you don't want to be scared about your computer. So he's got it going on, and he's got some stuff he figured
I'll
out.
show you what the Russians will find when they break in.
So we're here today. The topic today is how to attract a customer in 90 seconds. The analogy is, imagine you're on the top of a high-rise building, 40 stories up, and you get on an elevator with somebody that you have to interest in your product or service. You now have from the top of the 40th floor to the lobby to grab this person's attention. And you have about 90 seconds to do that. And so today we're going to be demonstrating elevator pitches. It's called an elevator pitch. We're going to demonstrate elevator pitches. And then when we get done demonstrating, we're going to give each of you the opportunity, a few minutes, several minutes actually, to build your elevator pitch. And you will try to use the things you've learned today to build that elevator pitch. Then anybody that wants to volunteer can get up and we'll do an elevator. You can give your elevator pitch in a role play situation with someone else just to get the hang of it. That's completely voluntary. I know some people don't like getting up in front of other people, but it's a good place to maybe get up and practice a little bit, all right? So that's what we're gonna do. So for our first elevator pitch, the Toastmasters are all gonna get up over here in the corner and we're gonna mill around as if we were in a business after hours session, all right? So. Come on up here, Luke.
How's it going, George? I haven't seen you for a long time. How's things going at the conference?
Everything's going great.
Hey,
how you doing? Nice to see you here at Toastmasters.
Hi, Wendy.
Hey, good to see you, Helen.
Yeah.
Hope you had a good time on your trip.
We had a great visit down that way. Thanks.
Great, okay.
It's okay. We didn't give you really much of a heads up, did we?
Go ahead,
Wendy, it's so good to see you again.
George, yes, good to see you.
One of the things I want to ask you about is, did you get that proposal that I talked to you about?
Well, I've really been kind of busy lately and I can't say that I've had time to look at it.
Oh,
But I
Wendy,
will.
Oh, Wendy,
But I
Wendy,
will.
that is really important. XYZ widgets are really proud of the pricing we've given you. You really should be looking at that because remember, we are needing to get that done right away.
Okay, I will take a look at it, I promise, I promise.
Now, XYZ widgets really has a fabulous new product. It's something that I want to interest you in. Just as soon as you sign that contract, we have other ideas for your business. Have you ever thought about expanding into IT?
IT scares me.
Well,
Especially AI, but IT scares me. Can you help me with that?
Oh, AI is wonderful. We have a solution for everything. You're going to love our products.
All right, very good. Thanks. Mike and Helen are going to give up, and they're going to give a little bit of a debrief on what they thought went well, if anything, and where they think there's an opportunity to improve.
You want to trade off?
Yeah. Well, George, I give you high marks for persistence there. you weren't going to let her go away without getting your whole story out.
I really liked George's enthusiasm and his great support for the product that he was selling, but he wasn't appealing to what Wendy needed to hear.
And George, you really weren't picking up on her nonverbal clues, like looking at her wrist for a time and kind of moving away a little bit. So you got to be aware of that.
Also, George, I noticed that you were talking about not Wendy's personal needs, but the needs of her company or her organization. So that would be of less interest to her than if it was more personal.
Okay, good. Thanks, guys. Turn this back on because it was kind of. everybody here. Maybe some things that George could have added. Get the fire back up. All right, welcome to the Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn series. We're here to talk to you about how to attract customers in 90 seconds. How many have been to a business before hours, business after hours? How many are as uncomfortable as I am? Especially that first one. I recommend always take a partner with you, that way everybody can't ignore you. And we are Toastmasters, and our goal is to get the word out about the benefit of Toastmasters. You know, there's a lot of clubs, Lions Club, Elks Club, that do things for the community in terms of physical things. This club is about helping people help themselves to become better, more comfortable speakers. So we're going to talk about the important elements of any pitch, any formal speech. Now you have to get in 90-second elevator pitch the same things you need to get in a formal speech that you would give to a crowd like I'm giving today. First, you need an attention-grabbing introduction. You need something that brings that person in and makes that person want to engage with you. You then need a body which delivers thoughts in a logical progression. So elevator pitches, though they may sound a bit scattered, actually need to be practiced. You need to have a flow. You need to practice so much that you get past sounding rigid and then it just starts to flow. Focus the body on the potential benefits of your product or service that your product or service has for the person you're speaking to. What's in it for that person? Here's where it gets dicey, because you have to show those benefits individually to each individual person you're talking to. So that might change a bit. I'm going to give an example of my own personal experience. So I worked in mining for 25 years. I was a maintenance superintendent. Great people. And I knew everybody in the state when it came to maintenance. So I went and worked for an industrial sales company. I sold compressors and compressor parts and compressor service to people. But I had never been a salesman before. I had no idea. So what did I do? I read books, I learned, I tried to figure out from others. I joined Toastmasters for a little while in 2017. Did everything I could do to figure out, okay, what are the tools of this trade? Now, if you're you've all gone to school for something, you've all learned how to do something, it took you 3 or 4 years, you had to learn how to use a particular set of skills. Well, in sales, this is it. Your voice, your presence, the way you attract people, whether or not you seem friendly or not, whether or not you seem like somebody you want to engage with you. So in my personal experience, I'd been a kind of a hard-nosed, trusty maintenance guy, but I'd never been a salesman, so I was starting from scratch. And so I went and I did it for 14 years, and the reason I did it for 14 years was because after about a year, 2 or 3, I figured something out. So when I would go out and pitch compressors and compressor service to people, I would go and talk about the benefits of our compressor and our technicians to that person's company. And I would explain how we were less expensive than other compressors, and I would explain how our technicians were smarter than other technicians, and I would explain how our trucks are prettier than other trucks, okay? But after year 2, 3, somewhere in there, it finally dawned on me that I was hitting the wrong set of benefits. Then I started thinking, that planner that's sitting in the chair right there, what's the benefit to him? And so when I realized that, then I started selling. I had to understand the person. Because I've been in maintenance, I did understand the person. Planners at a gold mine or supervisors at a gold mine, they get calls all through the evening. They get calls on the weekend. They're always being dragged away from home. The benefit to the planner that I was able to sell was, if you buy from us, You don't have to worry about coming to this gold mine for compressors. You might have to come for other stuff, but you don't have to come for our stuff, because here's what we're gonna do. And when I realized that I needed to start teaching the benefit to that person that I was talking to in that chair, things just exploded for me. We tripled sales, we did all kinds of good things, okay? That's what makes it tough though. In 90 seconds, you gotta figure out the benefit to that person. Not necessarily the benefit to the company, because there's lots of people selling lots of stuff to different companies. What's the benefit to you, okay? And then any formal speech and an elevator pitch has gotta have a summary conclusion about your product or services, which includes a way to move forward. All right? Potential pitfalls of any pitch. You may lose the attention or interest of your listener if you're not aware of these communication pitfalls. Talking too much about yourself or your company. Here's the bad news. Not everybody's that interested in me. Turns out they're interested in themselves. You have got to find out what is of interest to that person. Being disorganized in your delivery. You've got to take an elevator pitch, make it a very formal, very concise, very rigid, structured piece, and then you've got to work on it until it seems completely natural, until it just flows, until it's just like it's just you're scolding your kids or something. Focus on the aspects of your product or service not related to the benefits to your. This is a pitfall. If you don't focus on the benefits related to the person you're talking to. And then failing to wrap up your pitch. You have to let them know what's next. And you got to do it without being pushy about doing it. If the first part of the pitch works, they'll want to know this part. They'll want to know how to get a hold of you. Justin did one last week, and I stayed over because what he said interested me, and it told me that things that he does could benefit me. So this is kind of a report card too. If they don't want to know your number, if they got no interest in following up, then maybe you need to work on your pitch. So we're all social beings in some way or another. Even uncomfortable conversations can be beneficial and help us grow. When you're at a business after hours, when you're at a business before hours, when you're at any social gathering where the people that don't know you outnumber the people that do know you, it's uncomfortable. We all just want to kind of shrink back, and we want to kind of just not be noticed because we're scared and we're nervous. So it's where you can just understand some of these things that can help you touch things off. Here's some tips for being more comfortable when talking with new acquaintances. Everybody likes to feel important. That is a basic human need. We're not so interested if I want to be important, but we're interested in ourselves being made to feel like what we have to say matters to people, all right? So, do that. By saying their name, simply hearing one's own name helps us feel more comfortable. You cannot imagine the amount of traction if you just repeat the person's name. It says to them that you paid attention to who they were, you remembered who they were, even though it might have been a few minutes. I had a teacher one time who was teaching what I do, which is I'm a Six Sigma black belt, and so I was in continuous improvement. And we were in a class. There were more people in this class than this, and that instructor went through and shook the hands and said and introduced himself, and had everybody introduce themselves. And if they didn't, he asked their name through all the 30 people who were in that class. And for the rest of that class, that guy used everybody's names. Every single stranger that he didn't know 20 minutes ago. I went up to him after, how do you do that? He says, you gotta laser focus, you gotta lock in, you gotta grab their hand, you gotta make them say their name, and then you gotta just burn it in. So, I can't do it. I tried to introduce myself to everybody here, and I think I know Haley, and I know Justin, and the people in Toastmasters, but it is a skill, and if you can gain that skill, it's really great. Paying a sincere compliment to break the ice. I'm not saying that you have to be phony, but I am saying that everybody, even the worst person in the world, has one thing that they could be complimented on. Find it. Find out how to compliment that person. Maybe it's their shoes. Try to connect somehow. Maybe it's the car they drive. Maybe it's, I've seen you at this meeting several times. Whatever you can do, find a way to pay a sincere compliment to break the ice. Be brave, worry less. Chances are the person will enjoy your conversations more than you think they will. You're not having the conversation because you don't want to be a pushy salesman and you don't want to push yourself on them. Because everybody hates pushy salesmen that do that, right? Am I correct? So we all don't do that because we don't want to be that person. But you can do it in a way where the other person will appreciate the conversation. I learned that Frankie is at the last business before hours, I learned that Frankie is a fundraiser. And I was fascinated with the things, and she gave a little, once she engaged, then she gave a little spiel to the lady that was next to her about all the things she was doing. And I was just locked in. I was just fascinated by what all she had going on. So, you got interesting things to say, all right? Don't be afraid to go off script. Be wary of being too rigid. Don't let awkward moments stop you from continuing on. Just persevere. Find the joy in being curious. Actively listen to the stories of others and make it your mission to discover interesting things about them. Make it your mission to find interesting things about them. Why would you do that? Gives you a chance to connect. George told a very good story, and I'm going to have him get up for just a second and retell that story.
The script. Let me have your microphone for a second. Mike has it. The story I was telling before we started really comes from my days in banking. Before I was a college professor, I was a banker for 28 years. And when I first started in the bank, they told me my problem was I talked too much. And they considered it a training for me to be like a bouncing ball. I bounce the ball to Gil, Gil bounces the ball back to me. You need to have a give and take within any conversation. But what I had to learn, and remember, I'm a little older, we didn't have devices. I had 3x5 cards when I was a banker. I did a lot of ag lending, and what I knew is every customer's dog's name. Because if you pull onto the place and you know the dog's name, all of a sudden, you're part of us. So the important part of making connections is being able to relate. When I gave my demonstration, I was very pushy, long-winded. That turns people off. If I would have had a connection with her, next week I could have followed up.
Thank you. Another adder to that connection. When I was a maintenance superintendent, so I was at the top level of a department that had about 250 people in it. And when you're in that position, very often you have to make unpopular decisions. And very often you're not popular with every single person in that 250 people. And so what I used to do, I learned, I would send a Christmas card to every single employee's house. Now, not every single person liked me, but every single person's spouse thought I was a good guy. So, figure out a way to make some connections. Practice makes better, never perfect. So don't worry about trying to be perfect. Just always persevere. Just always keep going. Just go to the next person, next person, next person. Okay? So that's the sales, or that's the presentation. Now we're gonna I would like to introduce our next pitch. If I can get the Toastmasters back up here, and we'll, in fact, let's dispense with that. We've already done that once. Let's just have Mike and Helen get up. And they're gonna give the second pitch of the day. There you go.
How this works.
There's a button on it. You push, right?
There we go. Just like, oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Hi, Helen, checking your calendar?
Oh, hi, Mike. Yes, I have a couple appointments this afternoon and I don't want to miss them.
Well, you've got a really good reputation for meeting your appointments. Big difference now with cell phones and such. Remember the days when we had a notebook and a pager?
Boy, do I ever. I'm glad those days are behind us.
Well, look forward to the future too. My company is coming out with what we call Artificial Intelligence Personal Assistant, APA. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like having a actual person almost that's going to help you with all your things that you need to do. Let me give you an example. This morning, I said, APA, order me coffee at Starbucks, ready to be picked up in 5 minutes. And APA said, you have a note to give some recognition to your employees. Maybe I could buy some gift cards from Starbucks and send out some emails. And I thought about that and said, APA, do it. By the time I was drinking my coffee, everything was ready. All I had to do was approve sending those emails out. I bet you would find that type of app really useful.
Well, it sounds really interesting, but I have a lot of questions. How much will it cost? How hard is it to use? Those kinds of things.
I think you'll find it really easy to use. You can do things like tell it to summarize a report or put together a PowerPoint. As for cost, it depends on how much you use it. What I'll do is I'll send you a link and you can use it for a full month with support and see how you like it, what it does for you.
Oh, that would be great, Mike. Thanks a lot. Here's my card with my information.
Well, expect an email soon.
Thanks a lot. Nice to see you.
Wendy and Luis are going to get up. Come on up. They're going to let us know what we saw, and what was good, and what Matt improved. Go ahead.
So from the very beginning, I think Mike was very convincing. He also knew a lot about IA he was talking about and how these new technologies are going to be embraced in society. And also he was clear on the benefits to the potential customer, in this case, you.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I'm new in the class, so it's very nice. So, and also the non-verbal language that he had was also good from my understanding. Because it's a mix of verbal and non-verbal language.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciated the way that you presented this product. You were right on top, Mike, you were right on top of listening to what Helen's problem was. She was having a problem keeping all of her appointments straight, even though she was looking on her phone. And you showed her something better that would work for her. And I really like the way that you closed the deal at the end. You took Helen's card and then you said, we'll be getting an email in just a very short time so that we can follow up and talk about this. Offering a 30-day free trial. Nothing better than that to get someone initiated into something. So yes, I thought that presentation was effective.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Luis. All right, the other thing that I think that Mike did was he connected to Helen personally. He made sure and let her know how it would impact her personally. AI can be this big scary thing that's chasing society, right? He connected to how it's gonna help her personally. It's gonna help you remember. He would have just shot down and got a cup of coffee had he not been reminded that he had something else he needed to do that day. All right? So, now everybody's got, or should have, paper and pencil in front of them. Now you have to figure out how you're going to pitch your business, entity, whatever that is. We're going to give you a few minutes. Just a little follow-up too. The reason we're here from Toastmasters is we're trying to get the word out that Toastmasters exists and there's a benefit to people out there. One of the things we help do is we learn how to speak more comfortably. Another way you can get your word out there is We're gonna take some time, and you can get up, mill around, use the restroom if you want. We're gonna have about 15 minutes or so. Make your pitch. But another way you can get your word out is I've included our storyboards back there. Now, even if you don't get a storyboard built, everybody should go through and build a storyboard. The reason you want to build a storyboard is it forces you to realize those benefits that you are trying to sell to people. So even if you don't get one built, they're kind of pricey. Those are $60 a piece. So they're pretty pricey. But if I were allowed to have that in a business before hours, I wouldn't have to reach everybody, because that's a non-aggressive way of telling everybody what the benefit is. But what I'm saying is, even if you don't get one built, build one on an 8.5 by 11 so that it forces you to figure out all different kind of angles to look at your business, all right? So we're gonna just let you go. All of us Toastmasters, oh, go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah, I'd just like to make one comment. It wasn't mentioned specifically, but I think it's a part of what we're trying to get across, is that you need to devote a few seconds, if you're meeting someone that you've never met before, half a minute maybe of your 90-second speech, getting to know the other person. Let the other person talk. Find out what their business is or what their interest might be, and then you can focus your presentation even better. But don't look like that's what you're doing. So just a few minutes of a few seconds of listening before you start your pitch.
Okay, we're the Toastmasters in the room. We're all going to wander around and see if you need any help. Feel free to get up, get more water, get donuts, whatever. We're going to wander around and ask questions. If you don't need us, that's fine. If you have questions, just stop us, all right? Thanks. We'll get back together here. Let's see. It's 12:32. Why don't we try to get back together? Start at about 12:42. And after this, anybody wants to volunteer, get up and practice.
I know.
I think so. Right, exactly. Okay. That's what you're trying to do.
My husband knows that, and we had a band. That's an all.
That would like to get up and give an elevator pitch and do a little practice. I know one that really wants to. She wants to so bad she won't even make eye contact with me right now. Anybody want to get up and give it a try? Be brave. Come on up.
Yeah.
Nothing bad will happen to you.
I'll think about it late at night.
Well, you know, everybody's in the same boat here, so you're good.
True.
But there is a trapdoor right there in the floor.
We all appreciate your bravery.
Yes, we certainly do.
All right. Okay. Hi, Coach Jill.
Yes, how you doing?
Johanna, how are you?
Nice to meet you, Johanna.
Good. I saw you just recently joined the chamber. Congratulations.
I did, thank you.
Yeah, how long have you been in business officially?
This time, just 2 months.
Wow.
Just
amazing.
got started, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw you do a little bit of like coaching. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I coach people that want to get from here to there. So, personal accountability coach for people that want to like lose weight, things like that. And I'm also a business optimization coach. Why do you ask?
Well, I was just curious, how would you feel if you had a bank that provided you with free marketing?
That'd be great.
Yeah, so my bank, Wafet Bank, actually provides a great service called Local Deals. So essentially, you would be in control of your business, kind of what marketing you want to put out there on our website. So if you want to offer maybe free consultation, you know, free quotes, things of that nature, you can put that out and our clients would have access to that and then reach out to you directly.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah, and it's a really easy enrollment. You do have to be a client of our bank, so I'd be happy to set up an appointment to open your account and get you enrolled.
So this turned from a practice elevator speed pitch to a real one. Now I get your card. Very good. Very good. she was gonna come. She wanted me to pitch my business back to her. There's no greater compliment than having somebody pitch your business back to them. So it was very, very well done. Good job. You should have been teaching the class. Does anybody else want to give it a try?
No, it's hard to follow that.
Well, you gotta have good and bad examples, so.
Yeah, Megan.
Come on.
I was gonna say, I'm not scared up.
Diana, how about you?
Well,
You want to get an elevator pitch?
Not particularly.
Michael, come on. Luis, you want to get an elevator pitch from Justin? I'll do it. Come on, Justin.
Well, I just overheard this conversation you're in about free marketing, so that's what I'm up here for. Good to see you again. Hey, I've got a question for you since last time we spoke.
Yes.
When the Russians come and break into your computer,
Yes.
how much of your money are they going to take?
Well, they're gonna get it all. There's not much there, but they're gonna get it all.
Okay. Who are you going to call to help you get it back?
Well, before last lunch and learn, I didn't have anybody to call, but now I'm gonna call you and ask you why they got it.
I can't help you get it back. I can't help you get it back.
Right.
Who's going to help you get it back?
Nobody. I don't
You
know.
ever called your bank?
Well, I have.
Who's the banker back there?
Yes, I did find out from recently that the insurance that the government gives is just if the bank closes, it doesn't help you get it back if somebody steals it. So.
Yeah, they can't. Insurance company? Sometimes. Do you have cyber insurance?
No, I do not.
Well, something we might want to talk about.
Yes.
So I've got this service. We'll just come in, ask you a few questions. I'm going to run a scan on your network, and I'll tell you what they're going to find if they break in.
Great.
And then we can build your roadmap and just kind of.
Great.
Knock
That
that
sounds
out.
good. It sounds like it's something I need.
Because once you get hit, good luck.
It's too late.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, she did so good, she didn't need an evaluator.
I know.
Who's got some positive feedback? This is what we do in Toastmasters.
No, I
every
need
week.
negative. I don't want positive. All right.
Well,
What can I do better? I don't want to hear that.
here's the thing, we call it positive, but they give you zingers anyway. We just do it that way so we don't scare people off. So,
Fair enough.
anyway, I did promise people they'd get a little feedback on their pitch. This young lady, Johanna,
Yes.
she did so well, she completely flabbergasted me, I forgot to ask. But Justin would like to know, so.
I would. Beat me up.
Got any, Judith?
think it's very good, very interesting, something that I would be very interested in. At the same time, you spoke a little too fast for me.
I speak fast when I'm nervous, but I'm not nervous today.
You sound like you are. You better slow down a little bit more.
Okay, fair.
George, did you have something?
No, I was just,
Oh,
sorry. But as far as being on the spot, I will tell you, it was very convincing.
Yes.
And it was not pushy at all.
And I reinforce what George just said, because I think positive reinforcement, or saying something positive, is important. Maybe not for you, but for everybody else here, it calls attention to what you did well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I like the way you start out. It's kind of scary. I like it. You thought about this? Ooh, I mean, right off the bat.
That's a
wow.
great example of an attention-grabbing introduction,
Yes.
right? Yes. Gotta get their attention so they'll stand there for a minute. Anybody else?
Contact information, I mean, is saying, hey, here's my card, here's how you can get a hold of me, or how can I get a hold of you? And it's just that little tiny thing.
I have to confess, when you came up to me after the presentation, I had the little QR code, scan this, and I had a process, and you're like, hey, Justin, how do we start? I'm like, oh no. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I need to work on that.
Yeah.
Like, I could do my presentation, and then
That's the most uncomfortable
yeah, the
spot.
best part, the most important part.
That's the most uncomfortable, because it's
Yeah.
the one that makes us, finally makes us a salesman,
Yep.
right? And we're
Yep.
all trying to not be salesmen.
Yep.
And you just have to get in there and do it and say, what's next, right? And it doesn't have to be, give me your number, right? It could be, would you like me, I think somebody did before, would you like me to give you a call in a couple of days?
Right.
That takes a little bit of the pressure off, lets them know you're really interested, but then you get an opportunity to call them without it really being a sales call because they've agreed to it, so. Okay?
All right.
Good job.
And I'll see everybody Friday at 6:45.
Anybody else want to give it a try? You've all got something to sell, and I can tell you right now, we all want to hear about it. So, who wants to go next? Nobody's gonna go.
I'll go with George.
Oh, gee.
Give it a shot here.
We have Faith, Judith.
Hi,
Hey,
George.
Judith. So good to see you
Good to see
again.
you too. So, how's your day going?
It's going great.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful outside.
It is beautiful outside. And what's your next big challenge coming up?
Surviving this semester.
Oh yeah?
It's really been tough for me. I've been stressed out. Everything seems to be just kind of overwhelming.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, there is a good way out that I found of being able to reduce that overwhelm sometimes, and that's when I go to church. And I would like to invite you to come to our church because you know what? It'll calm you right down. The place is so warm, the people are so receptive, and they're really interested in where you are and they're just interested in everybody. They'll ask you about how things are, and then we go to not only sit in church, we sing songs, which is always fun because we sing fun songs. Excuse me, Helen, that was so wrong. We sing enjoyable songs. Okay, all right. And then afterwards we get together and we eat. We almost always have a potluck. People just bring food and the whole thing. I think you would feel very good, and it would really lower the pressure on your life during the week if you were to come.
So you actually have fellowship afterwards.
Every time, every Sunday, and we talk about just about everything. And here's two of our members right out there, and they'll say that it is a very warm place to be.
There you go.
So, I was wondering, would you like to be my guest next Sunday? No, you're going to your own church, right?
Unfortunately, I have a responsibility.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Feedback for Judith. I'll tell you something she did right off the bat. She asked an open-ended question that she did not know what the answer was going to be, which then gave her the opportunity to respond to that open-ended question, right? So, very good there. Anybody else?
I already knew George, so that's different than George is a stranger.
Well, but it may work with a stranger too, right?
It might.
But one of the things I'd like to bring to everyone's attention is, did you see how Judith and I bounced the ball back and forth? There was a connection there. She was demonstrating that she cared about me. And it was sincere.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sure, I'll give it a whirl.
Come on up.
I'm gonna go with the starting scenario. I don't know Gil. We're at it before, after hours. I'll see how it goes. Hi, I'm Megan with the Elko Area Chamber. I'm great. How are you?
Good, good.
Wonderful. Is this your first time to Business Before Hours?
It is. I thought I'd come down and check it out, see what's going on.
Wonderful. So do you own a business here in town?
I just started a retirement business, so it's just kind of a little hobby deal I got going. Yeah.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So is it just for retirees, or do you
Well,
have other people that you're targeting?
It's just for this retiree. Something that I do.
Something that could be fulfilling.
Yeah, I just coach people, so.
Oh, you coach people?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, do you know anything about the Elko Area Chamber or what we
Not
do?
much. I knew a little bit about it when I was around it the first time back in 2016, but other than that, no.
2016, absolutely. So you've been in our community for a hot minute.
Yeah, I've been around a while.
Wonderful. Well, as you might know, we are a local entity, and we do have a few benefits through our membership. Has anyone ever approached you for membership purposes?
I've heard some of them, yeah, but not.
Absolutely. Well, wonderful. I'd love to talk to you some more whenever you have a chance. Do you happen to have a business card on
Yeah,
you?
I do, actually, yeah.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
There you go.
Well, if you don't mind, if you have a little bit of free space and time, I'd love to get together with you maybe this week, next week. What's your schedule look like?
Probably open, say, Friday, if you got some time
Wonderful.
Friday.
Friday. All right. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hold you to it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you. All right. For Megan, what do we have? Ashley, land on her hard.
She would get your contact information and then immediately give it to me to call you, so it was forced.
Well, Joyce just said, I'm gonna get this to our membership support coordinator.
Michael.
Yeah, well, I'll offer one suggestion just out of the blue. If you had seen Gil before, but didn't know him, you might find somebody else in that room that did know Gil, and you could find a little bit of information about him. And that might give you a way of going up to him and approaching him. I really like the idea that Gil brought up and that you really used, and that was asking permission. I think that's great because I think that's really important to ask permission.
And it opens the door. Giving you permission opens the door to follow up, right? Which we're all worried about being a salesman. We're all worried about being pushy. But if they give you permission, then you just throw yourself into it. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes.
I really like the sincerity. And that was very, very obvious that she really was cared about what you had in your business, and she could have been asked a little bit more about what the chamber could do for you.
Yeah.
But there again, you're on a time frame, so.
Yes. Which is why you have to practice it around that 90 seconds. What am I going to get in 90 seconds if I give myself 10 seconds for the intro, 10 seconds for the conclusion? That leaves me to 70 seconds to say, what are the benefits to me? For example, how would you like to double your business? Something like that, outlandish, something like that, right? What else? Anybody else got anything? Nobody else? Okay.
Gil, I'd like to go back to Judith's presentation. Both Megan and Judith were very sincere and genuine. But one thing I really liked about Judith's pitch to George is it wasn't about what the Methodists believe, and it really wasn't specifically about religion. It was about a friendly, social, supportive, warm welcome.
And how that could benefit George.
And that's inviting, I think, to someone, whether or not they're looking for a new church home or a church home, the idea that they could be welcomed into this new place, I think is a strong recommendation.
Okay. Does anybody else want a shot at the stage here? Well, with that, with no takers, I'm going to give you one thing I forgot to tell you about. For the business people in here that are having to figure out how to budget their money, instead of spending $500 or $1,000 to send your folks for supervisor training, just want to remind you that Toastmasters is $10 a month, and you do 3 things in Toastmasters. You learn how to speak, which is great for crews and presentations and everything like that. But everybody that speaks gets an evaluation. And so you're either getting an evaluation, which you're learning how to receive constructive criticism, which is a very important skill for a leader, or you're giving constructive criticism, which is a very important skill for a leader. All right? So we're there. You can stop by and just visit if you want. You don't, no strings attached. Just come see who we are. With that, I'm going to leave it with George Klebb, who's our president and going to give us our closing remarks. Thank you, George.
Well, thank you, first of all, for showing up. We wanted to provide you something that would benefit your business, your nonprofit, your organization. And by joining Toastmasters, we feel that we can help you even further. So we would love that opportunity. But when we talk about this interpersonal communication, remember, most communication is interpersonal communication. When I get home tonight, my wife asked me, "How was your day?" She's asking me, "How are you doing?" People care about other people. Even though our media tries to convince us otherwise, we do care. What I'm going to leave you with is an example from banking, where we were interviewing for someone for the teller line. And during this time, we had 3 candidates that were in the top. One was a superstar. 2 was just underneath, and there was the third candidate. That third candidate did something that got her the job, and that was to send a thank you note. The president of our bank was in his 80s, and he walked in with a thank you note. She sent one to me as the HR director, she sent one to the teller supervisor, and she sent one to the president. He walked in and said, I have never received anything like this in my life. The others have more skill, but this is the type of person we want in our organization. So being able to communicate effectively is the type of people you want in your organization. And we hope that you have learned something today, and we hope that you will think of us in the future.
Thanks, George. With that, we will cut you loose and send you along your way.